Hello, everybody. How are you doing? I hope you're doing just fine. And guess what? I'm doing fine too. I am. Thank you so much for tuning in to me once again. I really appreciate it. And I would like to welcome all of you to another episode of TJ's Topics. That's right. It is a pleasure to be with you once again. I consider it a joy, an honor, and a privilege to be able to come into your presence on any given occasion. Now, today's topic is the church is the biggest copycat there is. That is what we're going to discuss briefly. The church is the biggest copycat there is. And if you have been affiliated with church at any point in your life, and if you have a spiritual awareness about yourself and you have a deep understanding of things as it pertains to religion and spirituality, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. But there are a number of things that makes the church one of the biggest copycats, if not the biggest copycat there is. Things that the church has copied from the world. Now, the church has it bad about uh criticizing things that they see others do, particularly the people who they would classify as worldly or by some standards a sinner, and they want to quote that verse all the time that says we're in the world but we're not of the world. Well, listen here, if you're in the world and you're always copying the things that the world does, then how is it that you can say that you're not of the world? I mean, it's sort of an oxymoron, if that makes sense. So, things that the church has copied from the world. Number one, cultural trends such as fashion, hairstyles, and more. Those are some of the things that you see where the church has copied from those who they deem to be lost and out in the world. Number two, corporate and marketing techniques. Now, this is a big one right here. And that would consist of the usage of business models, which they're good at, treating their congregants as consumers, and self promotion and brand building, promoting their brand, because most churches nowadays have their own brand. It's all about building your brand. And that's typical of in the secular world, but in the religious world, and especially in Christianity, that has become a major thing, building your brand. Number three, entertainment driven worship. Now, check this out right here. They want to talk bad about secular music artists and stuff and entertainers, but look at what all worship services now entail. It mimics secular music concerts and secular artists. Examples would be rock music, R&B, rap and hip hop, country music, blues, soul music, and Latin. All that stuff is incorporated into the worship service, and all in an effort to try to draw a bigger crowd, which they can extract more money from. Because remember, it's all about that dollar. Political engagement. Number four, there is an increasing amount of politics involved in church and religion. They have adopted the partisan rhetoric, the anger, and the polarization that is prevalent in the political world, you know. And examples of that would be endorsing political candidates, whether they be Republican or Democrat, telling people who to vote for and how to vote. Now, my thing is this: if you're going to start to endorse political candidates and tell people who to vote for and what they should vote for, you know, that to me, that spells the loss of their tax exempt status. Because if they can do all that, they can pay taxes. Number 5, hierarchical leadership, which is the setup of church leadership in a way where it aligns itself closely with that of the corporate world, with respect to authority. Now, examples of that would be, okay, you have the pastor who would serve as the president and the CEO of the ministry. And then you have the first lady, his wife, which would be sort of like the vice president of the corporation or the ministry. Next, you have the associate minister, who would serve as the general manager of the ministry or the corporation. Then afterwards, you have the deacons. That would be the deacon board, and they are the board of directors. Next is the secretary, who is the administrative assistant, usually assisting the CEO in whatever he needs to have done. Then you have choir members, musicians, Sunday school teachers, ushers, youth department workers, the kitchen ministry, and this and that. Well, they are the support staff. They're all the employees and stuff, people on payroll or staff. And then finally, you have the members, the people who show up every Sunday for service, and they are the customers or the clientele. That is exactly how the church is set up, like a corporation, and the hierarchy system is all in place. And finally, you have customs, rituals, and traditions. The church has demonized so many things over the years, in regards to various traditions, which have been held near and dear to the hearts of those who are a part of various cultures and ethnicities and stuff, other religious beliefs and practices. Well, some of those beliefs and practices have been adopted by Christianity in order to win over more of those people and hopefully get more money coming into into their coffers. All this goes back to Roman Catholicism, when they had to adopt uh, pagan practices and holidays such as Halloween, Christmas, Easter. All those were pagan holidays, which had nothing to do with Christianity and absolutely nothing to do with Christ. All of that was adopted by the Roman Catholic Church because they saw where they couldn't make those people convert to Christianity like they wanted them to. Therefore, they had to figure out a way to win them over without making those people abandon their own practices and beliefs. And as the saying goes, if you can't beat them, join them. And so that's what happened. They adopted those pagans' beliefs and practices and their holidays, spiritualized them to the effect where they wouldn't look so weird and obnoxious, and they brought it into the church. And here we are today in 2026, still practicing those traditions and carrying out those rituals. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what makes the church the biggest copycat there is. So I hope you understand what I'm talking about. And please feel free to share this with whoever you wish, okay? So on that note, I would like to say thank you very much for tuning in to this episode of TJ's Topics. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing you again next time. And keep in mind, as we approach this Easter season coming up, this holiday of Easter, it has nothing to do with Christ, though the church will pretend like it is. But Easter was observed long before we even heard anything about Jesus. This is Taryn Jerome Harris, reminding you that every round goes higher and higher. Look forward to seeing you next weekend, Easter weekend. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.